Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Galey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. We have a very special guest today, the beautiful Anrita Melchizedek of the Pleiadian and Melchizedek Light Network. Anrita has been tirelessly working on ascension for humanity, reminding us to always stay in our heart. And she offers transmissions that connect us cosmically and spiritually to our beautiful light body so that we can live a beautiful life, creating new earth. Let's welcome Anrita Melchizedek back to Quantum Conversations. Hello, Anrita.
Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you very much for this opportunity to connect with our beloved Light Tribe and to share this heartfelt space with all. Thank you.
Thank you. We are already feeling a vibration for New Earth. It is one of unity consciousness and heart-centered living. This is the eye on the prize, or actually the prize that we keep our eyes on as we move through lots that are going on in the world. And as light workers, it's easy to get distracted in the collapse of the old structures. Yet there's something very important going on. Can you share your take of what's essential during these times?
Well, more and more of us are awakening. You know, those awakening just keeps occurring each time we activate and access those codes within. So very much that initial part of our ascension journey is very much the innerverse, where we are just going deeper each time, deeper and deeper into activating, purging, clearing. And of course, in that initial stage, we very much experiencing the reflection of what is going on with the outer reality. And then we have to come back in and tune ourselves to that higher dimensional frequency, because it's really essentially on one level, lifting our vibration to hold that alignment to the divine, but also to access the light codes, which are all within. But to do this is actually a long process, and it's a very difficult process because we are so geared to not only old habits or patterns or very deep clearings that are actually being escalated, but at the same time, there's a lot of, let's say, distraction that is going on, whether that distraction is simply having a job or having, kind of a partnership or having a family, or actually, just having a sense energetically of what is going on in the outer worlds. Because of course, we're in a time of absolute transformation and change, where we are actually seeing so much of the 3D, 5D fields or templates being activated and experienced simultaneously. So we know on one level where our focus is, there we are. But energetically, more than ever, it becomes so important to align us to frequency vibration by doing what we can to our own bodies, because it's our physical bodies that become our temples of light, that take us into not only the fifth dimensional templating, but to be able to sustain and hold us there as we transform every subatomic particle through the crystalline plasma light and the consciousness of our beloved I Am presence. And it's certainly an absolutely amazing journey, and simultaneously the most challenging journey that we have ever experienced in many lifetimes, because in different lifetimes, in fact, this experiment actually failed. This divine intelligence of our galactic selves wasn't fully activated because we didn't have the stargates of that collective consciousness. And so this was an individual process that was done for a very long time. But now the collective consciousness of where we are, we're holding that frequency that is shifting all consciousness and activating through the DNA. It's a
That
very,
is,
very, yes.
that's
I
great
was going to,
news.
yes.
Yes. So, okay, you mentioned that we didn't have the Stargates available on the last time around, and now the collective can hold the frequency. Yet this is,
Yes.
one of the challenging parts. It's interesting. The challenge comes from not being in the heart. Actually, would you agree? So, when we look outside and see, for me personally, I see ravens on a very special journey at 1111 last year. I saw ravens everywhere, and I just saw them earlier this week. And when there are clear signs like that, for me personally, that means stay in the heart. And then every time I see ravens, I realize I was just not in the heart at that moment. So, is there anything else? Is that really the recipe here? Because it would seem we would get to a point where we would surrender to love.
Well, everything is about coming into the heart. In fact, that's the first part of fifth dimensional living. And that's the being present, what we relearning, remembering, and awakening to our own divinity is holding ourselves fifth dimensionally, which is accessing the heart energy. And that is very much a state of being. So what happens is that the photonic light frequencies that are activating through the body slows the body down. And we have no choice in many instances but to almost surrender to that process. But the human aspect of ourselves, or the ego aspects, which are simply the unconscious aspects, or the aspects of ourselves that are pain and trauma, remembering that they are love, are still coming up fighting. They're not ready to surrender because, of course, the ego only knows that things are not going to be the way they were, and it's not ready for that change because we still have to go in and compassionately love those aspects of ourselves. And that is then where we shift from the outward focus of action and reaction or reactivity to particular dynamics or triggers or reflections, to actually bringing the awareness and consciousness back into the body and holding it in the body. And that is really also incredibly difficult, because not only are there a lot of distractions, but sometimes it's just very, very uncomfortable. And it's just taking then that time and energy, frequency, in whatever way that is working for us, to deepen into holding ourselves in every now moment. And I think that's where many of us are right now. We are just in this place of really deep purging and clearing. Some people are calling it going through the dark night of the soul, but we're seeing that on a collective level in lifting our frequency and vibration. And more than anything, we just have to keep coming back, releasing blame, deepening into forgiveness, releasing the victim persecutor consciousness timelines, by no longer going around in circles about who did what and why they did it, and just coming back and just loving that aspect that is the victim within, loving that aspect that is still in blame, loving that aspect, because that's all we need to do. We take that compassion and we bring it in. And that's then when we start to experience the shift, not only in consciousness, which shifts the perspective to another level of truth, but also then the crystalline plasmic light at a cellular level, which spins the subatomic particles in that increased light frequency, starts to go deeper in that cellular clearing process, simultaneously building the light bodies. But that initial stage really takes us into slowing down. And it can take many years, and it's certainly not a comfortable process, because the whole body has to transform and change. Our physical bodies are so very dense. And this is what we're shifting and changing right now through the DNA. And we're doing it through all lifetimes, bringing it into this now moment.
Yes, we're doing it through all lifetimes, and that's the heavy work that we're doing. So
Yes.
thank you everyone for being the peace and being in the now moment. We certainly have the tools. We've been doing this work. We understand it. Now we truly live it and we walk that talk. So again, I just want to honor every being who is
Yes.
watching this, showing up here in our Zoom audience, who are watching the broadcast, or even who are going to see this replay, because each of us have that leadership capability to stay in the heart like this and be the example for others. And so we honor all of that and thank you for this incredible work. So in this mix, you mentioned earlier that there are light codes within us that we are activating. And today what we're going to talk about is Starseed Light Code Activations, because that word starseed, I heard 10 years ago, starseed, and I never really knew what that is. And more people are hearing the beacon call of that word starseed and going into it and discovering that they're starseeds. And
Yes.
that's just amazing. So tell us a little bit about these Starseed Light Code activations and what you've got for us today.
Well, I think what would be lovely is, we've got a little bit of time. We can just move into this energetic transmission,
Oh,
because what I
yes.
was doing is thinking about how I was going to present this and put together some information that would show a linear perspective of something that's completely non-linear. And for me, I do that quite visually. So I was working with, creating some codes that we could work with activationally. And I think what would be quite nice is just to take us into a sense of this journey that we're all experiencing in this ascension and soul embodiment process, at least up until the fifth dimension. Because, of course, it really goes up to 12 dimensional templating, which is really, for most of us at this stage, just not quite where we are. But once we can hold into that frequency of the fifth dimension, consciously attune ourselves there, then we certainly are walking from that space of our beautiful open hearts as the flames of divinity we are. So I think it's a nice way to just deepen into this coming together as one heart. And let me have a look at if I can share my screen and just start that. There we go. This beautiful transmission for us. Okay. So we can all also just take a moment to just take a few deep breaths into the body. Just appreciate this moment of coming together. And I think it was so wonderful how Lorraine just took us all into that appreciation of self. And I just want to add to that how absolutely amazing every single one of you are, walking the path of love, and so appreciated and celebrated and deeply loved. We just take a moment to breathe that into our loving hearts as we say to ourselves, I love you, giving our full names. I love you. I love you. Just considering all that we know in our magnificence and light. Simple acceptance of where we are. Just breathing deep into the body, breathing in love, breathing out love. Calling upon our master guides, our guardian angel, and all other element beings of light we personally acknowledge and that wish to join us in this sacred space. And in this moment, we're also going to call upon the Christed extraterrestrials, and in particular the Pleiadians and the Sirians and the Andromedans, Arcturians, all of the light, as they lead us ever deeper into these attunements and activations of the Starseed Light Codes, into the templates within that awaken us ever deeper into the knowing of the light of God we are, walking this path of love as one heart and one love and one unified field of light. And this first code is one of awakening. And as galactic luminaries and sacred vessels of purity and innocence, the Starseed Light Codes within activate for each, individually and collectively, in each perfect now moment, relative to frequency, consciousness, karmic debt, and or how deep asleep we may have been. Each code a template of remembrance, a higher perspective, and a pathway of divine blueprinting, a doorway of consciousness to the new earth, all initially experienced within. Each awakening, another now moment of increased frequency, awareness, consciousness, and love. Amplifying within each cell and each molecule of our body, our temples of light. As the seed of life activates through the cellular matrix of crystalline plasmic light, the heart opens and the clearing begins. As the equal-armed Christ brings the balancing of polarity consciousness, masculine and feminine, and the embrace of the human aspects, the divine within, remembering that all is love, that love is all there is. We now attune to the overlighting of the Galactics to experience this awakening code, every subatomic particle within our body as we breathe in love and breathe out love. I awaken to the light of God. I am walking the path of love. Every cell in my body vibrates to this God code, to the source of divine love. Each template, divine blueprint within my body holds the consciousness of unity and love through the purity and innocence I am. As the beloved, I am that I am. Remember, beloved hearts, the higher states of consciousness and the knowing that all souls evolve upon the sacred earth. However, as the vibration upon this planet was so dense, and the knowing that it would take eons to evolve back into our true nature, in a divine dispensation given by the galactic councils to awaken all galactics and emissaries upon the sacred earth, to embody pure source light. We beam to this planet through and into the photonic belt, aligning through all dimensions of light and creating dimensions within dimensions, infinite versions of reality with symbols, sacred geometry, sound and color frequencies, grids and portals, and accessing these templates and vortices, stargates, the photonic light, soul light, would awaken all upon the sacred earth, aligning up to the 12th dimension of avatar consciousness, the collective higher light of all awakened souls as we enter into New Earth. As we breathe deep into the body, we invoke and call upon the galactic councils and the overlighting of the Pleiadians, the Sirians, and the Andromedans, the Arcturians, all of the light, to place us in this beautiful remembrance, sacred geometry, chamber of light bearing the codes of remembrance, remembering we are source light, remembering we are the I am avatar consciousness of light. I am all that I am. Flame of divinity, the light of God, leading the way as the awakened souls and lifting the vibration of the sacred earth and all her life as I walk the path of love. A vibrating stargate and portal of light. I am all that I am. New Earth, accessed on a quantum level, is where all exists in unity, harmony, and love. Within photonic light, we transferred our consciousness into the DNA of all life upon the sacred earth, to awaken and to remember as starseeds who we truly are through all timelines, dimensions, and realities. Sacred flames of divinity, of purity and innocence, beloved souls, Christ conscious beings, way showers, gatekeepers, grid keepers, here to awaken the consciousness of all life into unity and love. We access New Earth vibrationally as we purge and clear and release density while moving through each dimension, each level of consciousness, each program beyond the veils of illusion, with the physical body as our temples of light. We continually align and activate, integrate, recalibrate, synchronize, actualize, living in the now through the stillness of the loving heart and the wisdom of the higher mind. All truths reveal with higher perspectives. It takes a long time. Being, doing, creating the I am avatar consciousness of light in self-mastery, so deep at a cellular level, clearing old programs, false beliefs, judgments, patternings, and conditionings. 3D plays out unconscious behavior. 4D takes us into remembering and clearing, and 5D awakens and illuminates the stargates of our loving hearts, expressed through the seed of life, 4th dimensionally, the flower of life, 5th dimensionally, and the fruit of life and Metatron's cube, 12th dimensionally. We now invoke and call upon the overlighting of the Galactic Councils, and in particular the Pleiadians and the Sirians, the Andromedans, the Arcturians, all of the light, to bring in a multi-dimensional, multicolored new earth, light grid within the templates of the body, to experience our inner new earth in this now moment, living from the heart, living in love, taking it ever deeper inwards, breathing in love, breathing out love, dropping density, embracing, loving, compassionately, all within. Envisaging our new earth collectively as one heart and one love. While all activates within the DNA, to experience the crystalline plasma and photonic light held within, to raise our vibration, to be here and now, to experience the blueprint of our life purpose in self-mastery, the codes of creation, the patterns of perfection. We agree to incarnate upon this sacred earth, to take on human form and experience human lives, to take on the karma of humanity, as well as to clear our own cosmic karmic deeds and debt against humanity, to integrate the photonic light and become fully multidimensional master beings, so that all life upon this sacred earth could know themselves as love. Our DNA configures and codes as transmitters and receivers of divine light, able to transmit and receive information in the form of light particles multidimensionally, crystalline plasma light. We assist in activating the DNA of all humanity, starting from the original divine 8-cell blueprint and working with the sacred geometry of the egg of light and star tetrahedron, all reveals to the next level, next layer, next dimension, next experience in our evolving physical forms. Awareness, purpose, soul mission, cosmic and earthly karmic clearing, releasing of the prison matrix, shifting perspectives, higher self connections, self-love, quantum field activations, healings, compassion and wisdom, love, unity consciousness, and I am avatar blueprinting, all reveals and activates as illusion dissolves and releases. We ask and invoke the assistance of the Galactic Councils, and the Pleiadians and the Sirians, the Andromedans, the Arcturians, to assist us now in bringing in this quantum DNA activation chamber of light and activating templates in the DNA. Take us ever deeper into the Adam Kadmon body of light. Adam Kadmon body of light is a part of the energy structures within and around the physical bodies, taking us into this physical ascension process and deepening our connection as our living a light body, bringing with it deepening levels of self-mastery, unlimited potentiality, infinite probability of merging timelines in this now, in our inner verse and collectively within the universe. Breathe it in, feel it, experience it, know it to be the highest truth right now. lifting the veils of illusion as we raise our vibration as the remembrance of ourselves as initiates of life. Timelines of remembrance within the consciousness of one, Lemurian, Atlantean, ancient Egypt, galactic, inner earth, Gaia. Accelerated in the recognition of our challenges as initiations of life. We embrace the negative ego aspects of the unexpressed divinity within, still coming to know itself as love. Compassion and love are keys of self-mastery and reveal ever deeper with empowerment, wisdom, insight, and understanding, anchoring and activating the threefold flame of empowerment, love, and wisdom, blue, pink, and golden yellow. Each step forward is a natural, organic flow into the next level of our soul's forward evolution. The divine plan reveals all as lower earth is replaced with new earth. Confusing initially, alignment, misalignment, heart awakenings, physical pain, experiencing the completion of karmic cycles and new versions of reality to earn the right of freedom, sovereignty, and self-mastery. This requires a surrender of our will to the divine will of Mother, Father, God. Trust and faith, Father, as we align as one heart, one love, one unified field of light. Devotion, commitment, inner plane ashrams and cities of light. Companions no longer only of the night. We go forth into deeper levels of initiation and light, no longer remembering the ride. The old dissolves, where love is all there is. From within, as pure source light, we create. Each moment holding the focus of our vibration and frequency and light. A journey initially ever deeper into the light. Reflected in the luminosity and wisdom of what we hold and transmit, release and let go of, to know ourselves as love, as initiates of light. We breathe deep into the body as we invoke and call upon the overlighting of the galactic councils, the Pleiadians and the Sirians, the Andromedans, the Arcturians, all of the light. To awaken the codes of initiation within each subatomic particle of our body, to dissolve all, to know that love is all there is. Remembering timeline of self-mastery, all in this now. Breathing in love, breathing out love. As an initiate of light, I activate the threefold flame of power, love, and wisdom within my loving heart, through my chakras, and connect ever deeper as a chila of the threads into the inner plane ashrams and cities of light. And so it is, and so it is. Imrua kia kina sika ia, inasia kia. As the subatomic particles spin and increased align, crystalline plasma, photonic, and diamond align, we get to choose our reality as source light. For the original divine blueprinting, returning to original innocence. As the sacred flames of divinity and light of God, we are. In ego consciousness, victim persecutor consciousness, all are still to blame. Our human fears, acts and reacts, anger, rage, guilt, shame, blame, grief, sadness, separation needing to be released, embraced, accepted, appreciated, dissolved. Observational awareness amplifies. Solar flares ignite as we see what we desire to change. As we align ever deeper into the sun, central sun, and great central sun, as the beloved I am that I am, as the beloved we are as a collective consciousness of light. Higher selves are embraced, ever deeper in soul embodiment. Ascension and resurrection codes activate, ready now to release all that no longer serves. Kundalini activates, the body fires up, plasma cools it down, masculine, feminine rebalance to the point of merging through the innocence within. Alchemy, transformation, freedom codes, remembrance. I am all that I am. I am a master being. I am a flame of divinity, gatekeeper, good keeper, light bringer, initiate of light. I am all that I am. So I invoke and call upon the overlighting of the Galactics, Pleiadians and Sirians, Andromedans, Arcturians, all of the night, to assist me in the deepest level of experiencing these transformational light codes and templates at a cellular level, to deepen into my transformation as I say to the universe to bring it on. As I line now through the Antakarana, through the breath, to the sun, central sun, and great central sun, really aligned through all dimensions of life. Breathing in love, breathing out love. Merging timelines, integrating into this now, merging timelines, past, future, parallel, all converging into this now moment in pure unconditional love, spiraling forth from the vesica Pisces into the seed of life, egg of life, flower of life, lower aspects, clearing timelines for all, karmic clearing done for humanity as all life evolves into the next level of their souls blossoming magnificence and light. Higher timelines, remembrance, golden age, timelines of life, bringing forth the knowing, the wisdom, the light. As I call now upon the Galactic Council, and the Pleiadians and Sirians, the Andromedans, Arcturians, all of the light, to activate codes within the merging timelines to the highest level. Within my body, I can experience, and by extension, through and into the unity grid and the beloved, I am present of all awakened souls. We are all fully conscious and aware and present in self-mastery in this now, in this timeline, in unity, in love. Deep into the body, we bring the awareness, activating initially what we consider our extrasensory perception gifts, a natural state of alignment, activated, brought on through the light codes that ignite into the pineal gland, pituitary, hypothalamus, and thalamus, and the alignment of the chakras through the rainbow, the light body, to the correct Fibonacci ratios in harmony as wheels within wheels, spirals within spirals, dimensions within dimensions. As the pineal gland activates a deeper sense of knowing, sweet nectar, Amrita, is experienced through the mouth, sweetness. The sweetness moves into the body, into the skin, experiencing a greater sense of innocence, hearing, expressing. For telepathically, this is how within the quantum field we communicate. We deepen into the expression of these gifts, which are a natural state of beingness. Within the quantum field, we hear, we see, we sense, we come together in soul groups, soul, star family, natural states of being, expressing now and amplifying the pituitary, pineal, hypothalamus, and thalamus glands, and aligning each chakra to the harmonic and spheres of the universe, to amplify our unique extrasensory perception gifts as we invoke and call upon the Galactic Councils, Pleiadians and Sirians, Andromedans and Arcturians, all of the night. Feeling and sensing the surge through the Kundalini, igniting, activating as we breathe it through the body, opening to our extrasensory perception gifts, clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance, telepathy, empathy, and every gift that is a natural state of being. Breathing in love, breathing out love. We deepen into the mission codes through the loving heart, deepening sense of authenticity. Where confusion initially arises, to express who am I. 3D, we look outside, we learn. 5D, we simply remember. All the gifts, all the knowing, all the wisdom is within. Each unique in frequency and vibration, although holding codes of collective consciousness and light. We allow our own mission codes of service in love to ignite and amplify from within. Breathing in love, breathing out love. We hold on to the heart's joy, heart's dreaming, passion, purpose. And in this alignment, allow multifaceted puzzle pieces to come together, synchronized, in harmony, in wisdom, in love, in unity, in abundance. As we invoke and call upon the Galactic Councils, Pleiadians and Sirians, Andromedans, Arcturians, all of the light, to assist us in accessing the deepest levels of these mission codes that may further flower into our created gifts and how we can best serve the sacred earth and all her life. As the collective consciousness, as the I am avatar consciousness of life. As all reveals within the light body, own beautiful frequency and vibration of the physical body as the temple of light. Aligns into the rainbow light body. And within this, we experience a sacred geometry of the flower of life, different to the Merkaba field. Merkaba field, part of the light body Merkaba frequency, using that of the star tetrahedron. In some cases, the octahedron. Whatever geometry, simply a vehicle of expression to enter and activate the light codes held fifth dimensionally. raising the vibration and frequency of the body template. This is the initial heartfelt space of holding ourselves fifth dimensionally in the experience of the rainbow light body. Cellular clearing continues. It is simply love, non-reactively. All is still within. All is still within the quantum field of beingness, holding, loving, being fully present, looking through the master eyes at all of life around us, while aligning the body ever deeper vibrationally in what we eat, in how we treat the body, and where our focus is to align the frequency, vibrationally, the templates, merging through all dimensions, galactic selves, timelines of self-mastery, the Lemurian, Atlantean, ancient Egyptian, galactic, earth, inner earth, all held within the body, the physical body of light. As we request the activation of the body in lifting the frequency and vibration into the rainbow light body and diamond crystalline light body through the overlighting of the Galactics, and in particular the Pleiadians, the Sirians, the Andromedans, and the Arcturians, all of the light. We breathe ever deeper through the anticorona, the fluorescent tube of light, allowing the movement of the body to guide us, having a sense of what our body wants to do in its own dance, having a sense of all the light codes coming up, feeling the ignition, each moment, each level, each frequency, aligning ever deeper into the heart of God and the heart of all creation. One heart. All balances in divine equilibrium, detachment, neutrality, observing and loving, no longer triggered, no longer reacting, simply loving, as above, so below, merging heaven and earth in synchronized harmonics. We visualize the shape of the octahedron, positioned around the body as a pyramid of light, holding the codes of the eternal balance beyond polarity. Into all that we do, we bring the focus of divine equilibrium, for it holds no judgment. No blame. No victim or persecutor consciousness. All is loved, all is revered, all is respected, all is understood beyond polarity. We open into new earth, We feel and sense it coming into the pyramids of light within, in alignment to the galaxies and stars that exist through New Earth within and through New Earth around, connecting to our beautiful soul brothers, soul sisters, star brothers, star sisters, feeling and sensing now, New Earth, right here, right now, as we invoke and call upon the overlighting of the galactic councils and the Pleiadians, the Sirians, Andromedans, Arcturian. Activate within each cell octahedral templating of divine equilibrium. As we go deep within, the multiverse expands. In a plane, alignment becomes attuned as a natural part of our frequency and energy. Beyond this now is the vastness, consciousness of all those that have gone before, that join us on the inner plane, teachers, guides, masters, to guide us as students, cheetahs on the thread initially, till we reach that point of self-mastery. Imprintings of the six-pointed star, visions of life. We feel and sense that connection into the inner plane ashrams and cities of life. Invoking this to be taken in our dream state into the inner planes, to the most appropriate frequencies, places, spaces, ashrams, cities, temples, crystalline templates, consciousness, to accelerate ourselves forward evolution, as well as that of all life. As we invoke and call upon the overlighting of the Galactic Councils and the Pleiadians and Sirians, Andromedans, Arcturians, all of the light to amplify and assist us, activating the deepest experience, this inner plane alignment, as we breathe in love and breathe out love. We enter into the unity grid of divine love, vibrating portals, stargates of divine love. Each of us a point of light upon this sacred earth, connected into soul groups with our soul and star families in this reunion of hearts, merging on the inner planes into the expression of the 12 higher selves and all 12 soul rays within each core group. It's the expression of 144 soul rays. Within this sacred earth, we talk about the 144 unity grid of divine love, the experience of unity, the experience of love through the light grids, through the portals, the sacred sites. We came to the Kundalini energy of Mother Earth, and we draw upon the plasma body, breathing in this lighter frequency, shifting perspectives, shifting consciousness, joins into the pulse of the sacred earth, Gaia, that's living a light ship that is our home. As starseeds, ratios, gatekeepers, grid keepers, we feel and experience all elemental kingdoms, the crystals, the diamond light codes, the connection to one another, and right now, the shifting of the consciousness of all life, no matter from this outward perspective, that right now, the world is perceived from a 3D lens in chaos. It is the codes of sovereignty and freedom and unity and love that are igniting inward and through the unity grid, so all life may know themselves as sovereign beings through our galactic DNA and light codes. This is the gift we give to ourselves and the gifts we give to all humanity, walking newer. As we call upon the overlighting now of the galactic councils, we call upon the overlighting of the I am avatar consciousness of light of the awakened souls to join us all as one heart and one love and one unified field of light, joining our hearts now into and through the heart of all that is within. Coming back now, fully present. This is our new earth. And we connect as one heart and one love. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We can feel each of those images, each of those activations. They were quite different. And I find that interesting, isn't it? So thank you for this beautiful activation. For me personally, the DNA activation was remarkable. So we hold this frequency. It is our awareness of this energy now that no one can take it away from us. So we hold this fifth dimensional frequency.
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful.
And of course, the deeper we go within Lorraine, the more we access it. So it's just really like a shift in consciousness that says, you know, we're no longer looking outside of ourselves, but we're coming in we just have to keep coming in and coming in and coming in.
Mhm.
And of course, that, seems diametrically opposed to what we've been taught from a 3D perspective, because our whole life is about learning from others, isn't it? And of course, we need that. We're growing up and we're learning from others, and there's many gifts in that. But essentially, that journey is inward first. And that's how we access all the codes, because all those codes are within. And then we're stepping into the portals and the stargates, and we're experiencing it through, sort of what's happening on the monthly level. Every month there's new stargates, as we know, new portals, and they're bringing through new codes that are transmitting frequencies or denser energies, or bringing up what's still being cleared, but also elevating frequency each time. So it's very interesting moments that we're living in. And of course, it's certainly challenging on some levels of it, being multidimensional, because, there are times when our body just needs to sleep a lot, or that it's in a lot of pain, or, there's absolutely no memory of anything that's come before. It's just all the time having to be in that moment. And it can be very difficult when you've got kids and you're taking them to school, and you just completely somewhere else integrating something as a multi-dimensional being, and you just really having to slow down for that initial stage anyway. And I think once we do a certain amount of that very deep clearing, cleansing, purging, there comes a point where we are much more grounded and integrated, and our bodies are really experiencing that lighter frequency or vibration as we lift that body frequency and energy. That's the biggest one for all of us, is shifting the body consciousness, because we can experience it energetically, but it's the physical body now that we're taking on this journey. That's a physical ascension. That's living fifth dimensionally, is the physical ascension. And that really requires that, they're going in and purging every program, and it's like just these memories. It's like a movie screen of things that have happened in different timelines, and they're just dissolving. They just keep dissolving as you go in. But sometimes it's intense and deep, and it can go for weeks and months and years. And then the body itself has to go through, it's like a lot of heat sometimes, or just very deep releases, very deep clearings, and it's very, very, very uncomfortable. It goes into the bones and into every part of the body, and it's certainly not for probably many souls that are not at that level to be able to experience that frequency, simply because not only is they of a denser vibration, but it's a very initially transforming but challenging process for all of us, even as galactics and starseeds. So I want to just say I'm absolutely honoring of absolutely everyone in their journey, and courageous, beautiful souls, as we're holding the light together, that you so beautifully expressed earlier, Lorraine, because I know how transforming this journey is, and that it's certainly not easy. And though we need to just hold that vision and knowing, because it gets much easier. It's just the surrender of the negative egos, we call it, which, I sort of really see as just the aspects of divinity within that are still awakening. And that's our pain body, that's our trauma, that's the events that have happened to us. And the deeper that those traumas have been, and I know that we've all experienced deep traumas sometimes, and I know for me, I've been through some also very deep traumas. That is where we get a bit stuck. And not stuck in that we're not desiring to release it, but it's so deep and requires just a lot of clearing at that cellular level within the body.
Yes, so thank you, Anrita, for this transmission that really assists us in that. And I want to again thank everybody who's doing this work, because you are deeply a role model for all the others. And it's just a beautiful time to be here, but it's challenging. And again, what you've gone through, Anrita, is a beautiful reminder for all of us too, that we can be love in action. We can walk the path of love. So I want to actually take a couple of questions in just a moment, but I wanted to have you talk a little bit about a support package that you're offering for all of those who want to take this to a deeper level. And as we get there, I wanted to say, for Anrita on New Earth One Network does these beautiful transmissions on the first Saturday of every month. And we have one coming up. And Rita, if it's okay with you, I'd like to include that transmission in this package that you're about to talk about. So it's an extra bonus for people. This is the Mystery
Wonderful.
School teachings. Yes.
Yes.
Share with
Yes.
us about this program.
Yes. Yes. Well, this is a series of, I would say, timeless uh, transmissions that I have possibly done over the years. And I just thought it would be a very nice package to share called the I Am Avatar Mystery School Teachings. And these are really just 12 beautiful transmissions. The first one is Initiation into the Universal Brotherhood, Unlocking Our Divine Blueprints. And then that really just takes us into traveling to the Great White Lodge and the etheric of Sirius and experiencing this initiation to the Universal Brotherhood and Sisterhood of the Light. And just some other beautiful things. And then we move into the second one, there's called the Initiation into the Order of Melchizedek, traveling the seven mansions of God. And that's also, really just going into these beautiful spheres of devotion, purification, transformation, sanctification, Christ consciousness. So all of these are just deepening into the remembrance of timelines that we have experienced in golden ages of life, and bringing that back into this now moment, and just very powerful experiences. There's initiations of the rose, and that's working very much with all the beautiful sisterhood of the rose, the high priesthood training. There's also, quite a nice one to be working with the Kabbalah and sacred geometry. There's one there called the Key of Solomon, activating the Holy Pentacles and the Ark of the Covenant. Some of them go quite deep into whether it's sacred geometry, the Kabbalah, inner plane initiations and rays, and some of them are also working with the planets and stars. And then others, it's just really serving as a remembrance, the Trinity Lord Shields of Light, which is working with Archangel Michael and Metatron, Melchizedek consciousness. And that's the landscape. There's the inner tree of life, which is obviously working through the chakras into a deeper understanding of the inner tree of life. And we've got a lovely one there called the Ancient Egyptian Prosperity Attunements. And that's also working with all those beautiful ancient Egyptian deities. There's one there called Star Attunements of Cosmic Convergence, whereas programs, implementing programs of cosmic consciousness awareness. And then there's anchoring and activating the light rays of the 12 Elohim. So it's working really with all those beloved core groups that, whether it's the angelic or the Order of Melchizedek and the Sisterhood of the Rose. There's another one there called the Sirian Stargate of the Heart and the Golden Age Temples of Light. So, and then I think the last one there is opening the time locks, the 7 paths to higher evolution. And that just gives a sense of, what we can experience as we move through this timeline into, deepening timelines of service on a galactic level. So there's just some nice things there, if you like, those kind of transmissions, which I think they're timeless, because it's something that even if you experiencing a little bit of the knowing of being a Melchizedek initiate or connecting on the inner planes and those ashrams, or even having that connection to whether it's the Sisterhood of the Rose or the Archangels or the Created ETs, you'll find a lot of that weaving into bringing through modalities that are from the Tree of Life, or as I said, from the Merkaba, the light body rays of creation. And it's just a nice coming into remembrance in a transmission, energetic transmission style.
Beautiful, Anrita. Thank you so much for that offer. And again, for those who are interested in that, you will also get into the next transmission, monthly transmission with Anrita. That is really beautiful. We feel solid. We feel fortified with these transmissions. We feel free. And we are truly transmuting all that stuff within us. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, the link for this beautiful special offer is right here on this webpage. and we've also put it in the chat on our Zoom audience. And if you'd like to be in our Zoom audience for our next show, visit acoustichealth.com and you can register. Now we're going to go to our Zoom audience and we're going to talk with a couple folks who have their hands raised. Let's hear from Tanya. Tanya, hello. You can unmute, please. As we wait for Tanya to unmute, Philip, hi, go ahead. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. Hi, thank you. That was incredible. Yeah, I've been following your work for a while, and incredible grateful to be here this morning. I wanted to ask, so as we become more crystalline progressively, and I suspect that we continue to incarnate, the level of awareness that's attained in a particular lifetime or embodiment, like that progression, is that something that we get to take? Is it continual? And do we become self-aware of that progression as we reincarnate, whether it's in a celestial level of awareness or a human embodiment?
That's actually a very interesting question, Philip, because that would depend actually in terms of future timelines, whether we choose to incarnate onto the lower dimensions or not. Because for many awakened souls living fifth dimensionally, we are shifting all life into that frequency, and we no longer need then to incarnate onto the lower dimensions in the same sort of cycle that we're doing at this time, where we come through with amnesia, because we're going into those deep amnestic stages where we are completely unconscious until we wake up. So your question is, if we are choosing to incarnate onto the lower worlds, would we come through in that unconscious state again and then awaken? And that's very possible. But likewise, because we're now living New Earth, many of us and many more will be living that multidimensionally, there may not be the need for that experiment once more into coming through where we are needing to re-go through the human experience. Because, of course, we've had to go through that not only to know ourselves as love and to understand what it's like to be human, but because the codes are within us that are activating for all life upon the sacred earth. But we're doing it now, we're doing it collectively. And in fact, the frequency for the sacred earth is that it has reached that collective or tipping point where we all are already doing it. Before, it was an individual journey. So I know for me personally, I probably wouldn't want to go into the experience of coming through, in that state of, unconsciousness again, of not remembering and waking up and then going through that stage. And I imagine then, because of our sovereignty and choice, the choices that we're making, we may not choose it. And in fact, we may just choose, once we're in that ascended state, to be working, when we do pass over, to just stay on the inner planes working there for a while, or to travel to other planets, other stars. Our soul's evolution is continuous, and this is just such a small part of what we're experiencing. In fact, the more that we know, we can actually know that we know even less than what we do know, because the more we awaken is actually realizing the less that we actually do know. But just to keep ourselves present, our choices are great in the sovereignty and freedom of self-expression in self-mastery.
Thank you. That was a really clear response. Can I ask you then, just to add to the last question, then, so for me personally, I've acquired a sense of indifference as I try to continue to work through it and develop further. And so as I continue to receive downloads and, I'm confronted, like many others, we can feel quite challenged at times, there seems to be an indifference where I tend to plateau out a little bit. And I'm unclear if that's where I should land. So do we all sort of individually plateau, and that is then this sort of a holding position as I don't know if I'm being clear enough, but
yes, now I understand what you're saying. Basically, we go through different stages in this ascension, and there is a stage where whether you call it indifference, it's like we switch off a bit, because those codes are activated on so many different levels that, it's like so much is going on that we actually almost feel like the need to switch off, whether it's like into the Netflix or whether it's into different levels. For some people it's into different levels of addiction, although you kind of conscious and aware, or into different patterns that are still activating. We just sort of switching off a little bit because it feels like too much. It just feels like too much. And then it's like, in some way, what it is, it's like just deeper levels of light anchoring. And we've got to get ourselves through it, but to be in the conscious awareness of what can I best do to raise my frequency. So if we just always come back to that, because even if we can watch Netflix while we're going through these changes, as an example, and it could even be like a nice program, I don't know, it's still not really the frequency that is aligning us to the new earth. So it's okay just as a very now and then kind of thing. But what we're wanting to do, you plateauing, it's like the same as when you losing weight, you reach a particular level where the weight doesn't drop. It's like the same as, we can call this energetic weight density. You are dropping density to lift your frequency and vibration, but it's like you plateaued. You reached a point where you've got to change some of those patterns, behaviors, frequencies, and push a little bit into really aligning your body and your energy into what are you doing every day to increase your frequency and vibration. And when you can really do that or look at that, you'll see that there's some changes that need to be made. And then you'll start to accelerate again. You'll go into another template. It's like right now you're between templates, and it causes or between spaces, and it can cause confusion. So it's like, we're still old earth, new earth. That's where our alignment is. For a long time, we're old earth clearing and very deep cellular clearing, but we're also in the heart. But those are it's not there completely yet. And so sometimes it feels like overwhelm, and we want to zone out a little bit. But hold on, hold in there, and that indifference or perception of, kind of feeling like every day is sort of going through the same routine, and start to make those small changes, and you will experience that next template. It will just come like that. So I know it's difficult to really describe it, but I have a sense of that's really what's happening with you, Philip.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all that time. It's like you've read my mind. I think you have a little bit, but that was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, I read your energy. Yes,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Wow. Yes, fascinating. All right, guys. So what do we do each day to raise our vibration? That's key. Thank you. All right, let's go to Siri. Siri, hi, you can unmute.
Namaste, ladies. Namaste.
Namaste.
Love Gaten and Miss Amrita. I have just a question about this multidimensionality, because I've been the pastor in self-realization, and I realized the consciousness, and I'm detached, and I have this. I love like my neighbor the same as my daughter. It's kind of creepy, but that's the way it is now. But then I guess interested in the star races, because apparently I come from some star somewhere, but then some channelers said I was from Arcturus, but I've read about him and I resonated more with the water, this Andromedan, but I don't know, because if I go to identification, it just brings trouble, I think. So some level is not even important to me which race I am, but I'm curious anyway. I have a little bit of curiosity about this, because I have this cosmic awareness anyway, and I have landed like mirror consciousness, so I get projected by sick egos every day, but the wrath on there. So it's in hard ego territory where I live right now, but I think about my own vibration all the time. There's the self, all aspects of me. So I try to get by, but I'm still curious about this. Of course, this star races. I can't admit that.
Shri, so I do pick up definitely a little bit of Arcturian. Yes.
I don't know, but and the other thing is I call upon my star family and stuff like that. They come to my dreams, but I couldn't remember my dreams for like 2 months now. I can't remember anything. So I don't know how to what to do next about this.
I didn't quite get everything fully, so I'm going to just pop in with what I understood there. I think it was just an audio sort of thing that I didn't pick up everything, but I picked up certainly a little bit of Arcturian energy with you. And if you are asking how you can connect on a galactic level to this core group, it's a very simple thing where you're just invoking and calling upon the overlighting of these core groups, because they all follow this, kind of free will universe, and all we got to do, it doesn't matter if it's the angelics, if it's the galactics, Christed ETs, whatever core group that we're working with and we'd like to call upon, just to assist and amplify our energy, at least initially, we can just simply invoke and call upon the Pleiadian emissaries of the light, or the Arcturian emissaries, or the Sirian Archangelic League of the Light, or the Andromedans. Those are the ones I called in, because that is what the starseeds on this earth are primarily from those 4 core groups. And those are the 4 core groups that I worked with for many, many years. So as a Pleiadian starseed, as a Pleiadian Sirian kind of hybrid starseed. But having said that, as starseeds, we incarnate onto different planets and stars. So there may be, when I look at my journey, there's a very strong Pleiadian resonance, because it's a place that feels very familiar. But Sirius is also familiar, as is Arcturus and Andromeda. And when I asked my guides a very long time ago, they said, people, we are star travelers, which means that we've incarnated onto these different stars and planets. And while some have stayed on places longer, they become more familiar, but many have traveled from different planets and different stars. So there may not be necessarily the resonance of one particular core group. And it's also not necessary to wonder, of what is your galactic heritage? What you just got to come into, more importantly, is realizing that you're here to anchor light. And how you do that is just the most important thing, based on your resonance frequency, understanding, vibration, and how you can assist in lifting the collective consciousness, starting with lifting your frequency and vibration to hold that light. And that's the journey that we're all doing, and there's never a right or wrong way. But I know from the soul perspective is that the soul simply sees everything as an experience. So it doesn't really matter, even if we get stuck in 3D for some time, it's like the soul just sees it as an experience. There's never any judgment. It's only the human that judges. The soul just says, okay, we're already getting there, and we've already experienced it. Right now, it's just, we're still sleeping, we're still waking up, and it's okay, because it's going to happen, because we are always deepening into our soul's forward evolution. That is just a natural part of our lives. And the way we can deepen into that, a very simple way, is every day starting to deepen into self-love initially. Because when we deepen into self-love and compassion for self, then we're less inclined to blame and be unforgiving or be reactive, because we're just bringing the awareness back into the body. So bringing the awareness back into the body all the time and say, I love you, Shri. I love you. I love you. Even if you're doing it like 100 times a day initially. And I went through a lot for some time where all I was going is, I love you, Anrita. I love you. I love you. And not for any other reason, that I was in that the conscious awareness of looking through some of my patterns, that some were still reactive. And whatever those emotions were coming up, I realized that those, kind of unresolved emotions, they were just needing to be loved. They were just needing to be accepted. And I could do that only by coming in and loving them. And then being aware when someone was starting to trigger, I was just in the conscious awareness that, okay, let me just go within again. Let me just love, because it's this unhealed, traumatic part of myself that is in my love, that is reactive. And if I can just love it and be compassionate with it, and initially you might even need to let it go wild and say what it needs to, or temporarily go into victim persecutor consciousness and dealing with it. But then it comes a point where the higher light and the lower light start to become a lot more as one. So the higher light initially is the voice that's the teacher and the master, and the lower voice, or the human side, that's saying this and this and this. The soul is going, no, that's not right. And, whatever it may be, it's like just affirming the positive. And then there comes a point where the voices start to merge into a much greater level of wholeness, because the human aspect is surrendering to the divine. Initially there's a big struggle. It's a huge struggle within us, because the human really just doesn't understand that it's the unexpressed divinity waiting to meet the light. And when we can really know that the human aspect is only needing to be loved, then that surrender comes with ease. But it's only when we love ourselves and appreciate ourselves.
I'm fully awake. So I don't have body consciousness anymore. I'm consciousness with a body as a vehicle. So, but thank you, ladies. Namaste.
Thank you,
Namaste.
Sri.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I wanted to very briefly here, we're almost out of time, but I want Kevin to unmute. Kevin's got an experience that we'd all love to hear Anrita's take on. Hi, Kevin.
Hello, ladies. Thank you very much for being here with us on this journey back into light, as some would say. Thank you very much. Yes, I have been having flashes of divine council members coming to me within the last week, but also being taken onto a ship where I see like a big table, a board table with many other council members. And this has been happening for about a week, just off and on, almost like daydreaming. They come in and I'm not sure why I'm being showed this right now and what would be their messages for me if this is coming through. Am I supposed to be a council member somewhere that I'm not sure? I just know I've opened up to some kind of new energetic or dimension where these beings are now a little more aware of me and I of them.
Yes. So how do you feel, Kevin? You saying that you have a sense of being part of this galactic council. Does it feel welcoming and loving, or what does that energy feel for you?
It feels very galactic, very safe. I did go to Mount Shasta 5 years ago and had council members come to me while I was there during the week. And it seems to be some of them are now returning 5 years later to me at this time. So I was very nervous then because I wasn't sure, it was so brand new to me. It was my first time in Shasta and they came and now they're sort of returning to me after 5 years and I'm like, okay. I didn't see the ship before and the boardroom that I'm seeing now, but I'm not sure again. I believe they are of the light. It's just how do we know if I don't have a contract in front of me that's on paper, right?
Yes. Well, that is why I asked how do you feel? Because if something is, no matter what that image is that's coming to mind or the perception of it, as long as it feels like loving, then it's usually, is a loving experience, isn't it? So there is, of course, the Galactic Federation and a lot of light ships, and those commanders and a lot of those star beings are actually working with people physically. And there's the one side where a lot of them are being beamed up, and they are consciously working with it, or they're working in telepathic communication. They're using implants. But sometimes then, we are also in our what we call in our sleep state, we astral traveling and we're going into those light ships. That's a very common occurrence for many awakened souls, because those galactic codes then are also activated at that time, where we bring through different levels of that mission codes, if you want to call it that. So it's very possible that, it's not that you need to say, well, what is my mission? Am I sort of a ground crew? Because we're all ground crew as such, if we look at it like that. It's more just recognizing possibly that the light codes that you are having within are going to trigger and activate into that remembrance in that perfect moment. You don't have to sit and get into your head of, what am I supposed to remember? What am I supposed to do? Because that's, again, an outward focus. What you got to do is just come in. And at some point that those codes are meant to activate, or those templates are meant to activate, they will. And this is really sometimes patience, but also it's like we can get confused, we can imagine that we should be doing this, or we're pushing ourselves to do that, or sometimes we're really far away to come back to, what we should be doing. And that's not a bad thing either. In fact, that happened to me. So I feel that it's also just honoring of whatever those connections are, because it's very possible that at some point it may become more clear for you. So just honor that experience and what it is and what it brings. And, just know that in that perfect moment, a deeper level of knowing will occur.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin. Very cool. All right. Well, it's an indicator of the experiences that people are having as we open up, and we get to that point by a lot of clearing and fully anchoring in the heart and being at peace. So, Anrita, thank you for this beautiful activation today. What an incredible series of activations. Our vibration has shifted. You've helped us tremendously. And your work is so pure and beautiful. And we are in deep gratitude to you. Thank you so much. Any closing thoughts that you have for us?
Well, thank you too, Lorraine. I'm always absolutely delighted to connect with you. And, thank you for all your beautiful, amazing work. And really mostly just to thank our beloved Light Tribe, because those gateways that are activating right now are being done in unity consciousness by the collective. And that is the awakened souls. And that's what we're here to do. We're just here to hold the light. And, also to just know that if you are going through this deep transformation that feels challenging and that is, still having those aspects of 3D living that is transforming within the body, just to surrender to that process and know that truly all is love, and that this too shall shift, because really we're in this huge awakening on a global level. And as I expressed earlier, from an outward perspective, it really does looks like absolute chaos. And we know it's a large part due to this pandemic and, that perceived separation and so much is going on with that. But the innerverse and the heart of the universe is already being experienced by so many of us in collective consciousness and love. And all we got to do is go within, at least initially. And then from there, we'll start to experience greater levels of those connections to awakened souls within our everyday lives, within and around us. And that's what's so beautiful, because New Earth is already here. And we have to do nothing but truly just open our hearts to it. So thank you so very much for this opportunity to connect with you all. And I love you so very much. And so from my heart and to yours and to the cosmic heart of all creation, blessings in love. Namaste.
Namaste. New Earth is already here. All we have to do is open our hearts for it. Thank you. Thank you, Anrita Melchizedek. Blessings. Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Loren Galey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.